Hello everyone, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here. This video is serving a little bit as an addendum to my original T. Kingfisher video. So T. Kingfisher writes 3-4 books a year. She publishes 3-4 books a year. So obviously the video that I posted talking about where to start with her is dated. I thought I'd talk about them together so you can watch a bunch of T. Kingfishers in a row. This is also piggybacking off of the news, which is probably old news by now, that T. Kingfisher is publishing and releasing a book in conjunction with Baldur's Gate 3, which is Astarian's backstory. Now, if you know anything about me, I'm obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3. I love Astarian. He's my second favorite companion. Karlach is my one true love, in case you're wondering. So this had me tentatively nervous, but also excited. Excited because I really enjoy T. Kingfisher. She does tend to sometimes get into the darkness, and so hopefully she can do Astarian's backstory justice. But I got so excited about that news that I decided to read more T. Kingfisher. And luckily, the library pulled through for me. The first book we're going to talk about is my least favorite, and that is The Seventh Bride. This is a young adult fantasy adventure where our main character, Rhea, is 15 years old, young adult, and the local lord / evil sorcerer says he wants to marry her, and they own a mill. Her parents own a mill, and they can't really say no to the local lord, so she is packed off to go marry him, only to find out Rhea is the seventh bride. There are 6 other wives in the house, and they all have had something taken from them. So Rhea is concerned in more ways than one about marrying this man who has magical powers, and she is worried about what he will take from her. So this follows a series of events and mini adventures leading to trying to stop the evil sorcerer. This was a 3-star read. I'm just not a young adult reader anymore. So if you enjoy young adult, you enjoy adventure stories, I'm sure this one would work for you. It's just, I don't read as much young adult as I did in the past. I also read The Raven and the Reindeer by T. Kingfisher, and this is an adventure story, but it's sapphic, so that's great. This one is also like a young adult story, or at least it felt that way. I think our main character is like 17, so she's a little bit older, but it still has a lot of those hallmark young adult vibes to it. There's more magic and mythology wrapped up in this one, which is why I gave it 3.5 stars instead of 3. I think I just enjoyed it that much more than The Seventh Bride. So I actually read 4 books for this video. And this book is actually getting re-released. So if you're looking forward to it, that'll come out in September. Let's talk Snake Eater by T. Kingfisher. I sneakily looked at Goodreads before I read this book, and one of the first reviews I saw very quickly before I clicked away was the reviewer describing this book as cozy horror, and I couldn't agree more after I've read it. I gave this book 4.5 stars, by the way, but this is about our main character Selena and her dog Copper, who is not in fact orange or red. He is a black lab. And they are escaping some sort of seemingly abusive past relationship, and she is going to a very small town in the middle of the desert to find her aunt. Now, sadly, her aunt had passed away, but her house is available, so Selena decides to stay in the house and kind of gather her bearings. She's incredibly poor, so she doesn't even have money for the train ticket to leave the small town, so she decides to stay. And she starts to get to know the townsfolk and make this house her home. That's where the cozy element comes in. The horror element comes in when she starts reading her aunt's journals and strange apparitions, we'll call it that, start appearing in her garden, and maybe something from the desert is haunting her a little bit. And I adored this. I thought this was so, like, both cute but also creepy at the same time. I thought this was well balanced, and somehow she managed to make this horror novel cozy. You just have all the hallmarks of a small town cozy story with some creepy stuff going on. I really enjoyed this. It was a quick read. Again, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then we had to talk about Wolfworm by T. Kingfisher. This was another 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now, I apologize. I cannot remember the main character's name, but our main character is a painter for scientific manuscripts. So she does the illustrations and the paintings that go into like scientific journals and books. And she takes a job at this reclusive scientist's house to catalog, paint his insect collection. And he's a little strange. The vibe of the house is a little strange. The lady of the house is no longer around, and that's kind of suspicious. So we are trying to navigate kind of what's going on here. Now, one of my big icks in life are botflies. Okay, don't look up what those are. But I've seen a couple videos in the past about botflies on specifically dogs, and it is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. It has scarred me forever, and I'm like deathly afraid of botflies nowadays. Ugh. Ugh. Of course, wolfworm is the colloquial name for botflies. So I didn't know that going into this book. So it's probably one of my biggest icks, biggest fears in life in book form. So if you're into body horror, I almost want to call this, and kind of a gothic vibe of the creepy house, the reclusive scientist, kind of uncovering some mysteries, I think you would really like this. This was so gross to me, but it is my particular ick, so it kind of depends on your mileage in terms of what you find horrifying. I found this deeply horrifying, in case you haven't caught on yet. This was another quick read. She's been kind of coming up with books that are in the like 250 range, page count range, and so I read this really quickly. And I have to stop talking about it because just remembering and trying to tell you what it's about is kind of icking me out again. So it's good horror when I can't even talk about it and talk about details without getting the ick. I loved the twist in this one too. And again, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Those were the T. Kingfisher books that I read recently to add to my growing list of T. Kingfisher videos that I'm making on this channel now. What do you think of T. Kingfisher? I would love to know all your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Are you a Baldur's Gate 3 fan? Are you going to read the Astarion book? I'm nervous excited about it. We'll have to see. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video of mine very soon. Bye.